Hello everybody, welcome back to that Transformers channel, and sorry for being a bit quiet. I am outside right now. I am out of town, and I'm trying to get an opportunity where I can record. There'll probably be background noise and stuff like that, because like I said, I'm outside. I'm trying to be quiet so nobody hears me, and they come over and ask what I'm talking about, because that would be weird. But in today's video, I will be going over my initial thoughts on Transformers: Rise of the Beasts. Oh man, I have a lot to say about it. It was really good. I really liked it. I really liked it. It was good. But there were some issues, obviously. It didn't live up to my expectations in a way. I left the theater wanting more. Not like how I felt after, okay, just to put it out there, this movie was not better than Spider-Verse, not even close. But it was still really good. I thought this was gonna be movie of the year for me, but it's not that. Spoilers for Rise of the Beast, just putting it out there now. But they kind of just wrapped up everything, kind of nice and neat, which I didn't expect. I thought they were gonna leave it on a cliffhanger to set up the new trilogy or whatever, but no, Unicron is gone. They were like, oh yeah, he could come back. So they're probably gonna bring him back to kill him eventually. There were no connections to Bayverse. They were making sure there were no connections to Bayverse. I thought the thing at the end with G.I. Joe was stupid. I'm gonna be honest straight up with that. I'm not a big G.I. Joe guy, and I didn't watch Snake Eyes. I bought the Fortnite skin, and I was gonna watch Snake Eyes, but I never got around to it. So I don't know if they're gonna connect it to that universe, but then again, I don't know anything about that universe. So when Optimus Prime and Primal were running away, or driving away, both, from that thing that was falling apart at the end, when the original score from the Bayverse movies came in, I had this massive grin on my face. That was cool. I like that. Bumblebee, it was a weird case in this movie. He just wasn't in it that much, which worked really well. It's just so weird to watch a live-action Transformers movie and Bumblebee just not be there. And I'd say it worked for the movie's favor, because we've seen plenty of Bumblebee. He had his own film, let some of the other characters shine, and they did great with that. The new characters are so cool. Holy crap. Mirage stole the show. He was a banger character in this movie. I need a studio series of him right now. There was that scene in the warehouse where Mirage turned into the Formula One car. That was kind of neat. Pete Davidson did downright incredibly. That caught me off guard. Especially when we first see him interacting with Noah. He acted like a G1 character. I was sitting in the theater with this big old smile on my face, which I had for a lot of the movie. And I was like, there's no shot. This feels right. It didn't feel like a live action Transformers movie. It felt like an episode of the G1 cartoon, and it was great. He was cracking jokes, this and that. It was a good time. I really liked Mirage. And I just like the younger character that's more on the human side than Bumblebee. He was Bumblebee, but he could speak. Because, Bumblebee was the one who was always cool with the humans. He was friendly. But now it's Mirage isn't that. But he just, I loved him. I loved him so much. Definitely my favorite character in the movie, by far. But back to Bumblebee. The whole thing, there were too many fake out deaths in this movie. Maybe the biggest flaw of the movie was the fake out deaths. I mean, they were upfront about Bumblebee, about how he probably couldn't come back, but they brought him back, so he's fine. Then there was Mirage, where I wasn't really sure if he was dead. Him giving up his parts for Noah didn't make sense, because there was a decent amount of robot left when he was getting shot up by Scourge, and all that compacted onto a human body just did not make any sense whatsoever. And I saw them, they were being cheeky with it. They just kept close-upping on Noah. Then you have this question, where's Mirage? And then they cut to this wide shot of the bridge, and Mirage is just gone. And I'm like, oh, so he's part of Noah now. Which I'd be fine if there was some of Mirage just missing. That would make sense. But he's all gone. It feels like in a game when you're fighting a character or something, or in a Lego game, when a character falls apart, how their body parts kind of slowly disappear because leaving them all over the place would mess with too many things, would slow down the game, stuff like that. It felt like that, and he's just gone. And then when they're in Stratosphere and Noah looks at the suit that Mirage made him out of himself, which was, didn't know they could do that, I thought he was dead. And then he's just repairing him. Because there were a bunch of times when when Optimus was in the fight and he got hurt with Scourge at the beginning of the movie, I was like, okay, well there's no Ratchet, so I don't know how they're gonna get fixed. And then Noah just puts Mirage back together as this janky Better Call Saul looking Porsche. Yeah, that didn't make any sense whatsoever, but who cares? There seemed like there was a lot missing from the movie that was also really weird. The biggest outlier being the transit fight, which I haven't seen anyone shut up about because I wanted to see it. First off, a bus transformer? That is so cool. And I thought the reason was because, Prime was brutal in the fight and we wanted Prime to be more G1, less Bayverse. You serious? Throughout the movie, he was Bayverse Prime. He was like, I'm gonna kill Scourge. Scourge has to die. I'm gonna rip his head off. Like, that's Bayverse Prime. I don't think the transit fight would have taken away from the film or made him any different, because at the end, when he's fighting Scourge, this man is brutal. This man is pulling none of his punches. He's ripping his arm off. He's shoving his sword through his head. He's burning him alive. And I'm like, really? This is G1 Prime? He was too much like Bayverse Prime to kill Transit the way he does. Like, nah, they did it for budget reasons. There were so many scenes where I was like, okay, something's missing here. There's something we didn't see. There were so many scenes like that because they ran out of time or they ran out of money. One of those. That's the only reason why we didn't see Transit versus Prime. Probably. I'm speculating. But no, it felt like there were a lot of scenes missing. And it did feel kind of short in a way. Maybe just because I felt like there should have been more to it. But like, I felt like it was about to end a few too many times. The pacing, it was kind of but I could handle it. It's just like when the final battle started, I was like, oh, the movie's gonna end already? And then they kept it going for a little bit longer, and I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Because obviously I wanted the movie to be longer. I want more cars turning into robots fighting other vehicles. But it seems like there were scenes that were cut. My memory is terrible, so I can't give you them, like moments where I was like, there should have been more here. But the best example I can give is when Primal is chasing Airazor, and Airazor has Elena. When Airazor was like evil and stuff, Elena has like claw marks on her like chest and neck. And when we see them, she's just on the ground, like Airazor already put her down. I feel like there was some scene missing where Airazor, like we see shots of Airazor carrying Elena, and she gets scratched up, and Airazor takes the trans warp key from her and then puts her down on the ground, but they cut it out, probably for budget reasons and time constraints. Also, the scene where Primal killed Airazor was like, what? I'm just in the theater like, what's going on? Because like, they close up to him grabbing her. Oh, I'm not gonna say that. He hugged her to death? She didn't look very dead. She just looked like she took a nap. Maybe he crushed her with his big gorilla monkey arms, his big Fortnite arms. I really don't know. Like, what happened there? That was weird. I'll say that. I guess I could talk about the Maximals now. I'm kind of all over the place with this. I should have formatted it, but this is an initial thoughts, not a review. The Maximals were pretty cool. I mean, there was a line where Airazor was like, the other Maximals are gone, which was really weird because we only saw Cheetor, Rhinox, Airazor, and Primal escape the planet. Apparently there were more in there. We just never saw them. In other words, there were supposed to be more Maximals in the movie, but they didn't have the time or money to make any more models, which makes sense. I did really like Primal, but I feel like there was supposed to be some explanation for their whole being from the past, being from the future thing. I kept waiting for there to be like an exposition moment where they're like, we came from the past to save you guys, Optimus, or something like that. Because he was like, I was named after you, Optimus Prime. And I was like, okay, where's the explanation? So what I'm pretty sure happened is the Maximals are from the future, and they used the trans warp key to go to the past, which it seemed like they were just going to Earth, but they were going to the past, which, yeah, I guess that makes sense. I don't know how Unicron got there, or Scourge got there. That doesn't make sense. Maybe they'll explain it in another movie. I don't know if in the next movie the Maximals are coming back or not, but it just didn't make sense. Speaking of Maximals, I thought that it was the Maximals and the Predacons, but they were Terracons in the movie, so I think I was wrong about that. Don't know where I heard that, but that was just interesting. So Scourge was cool. I like the reference of him being G1, him being like owned by Unicron, has to be a servant just like Galvatron, because Scourge is he came in the movie. So that was cool. I really like Scourge. He was a great villain. That introduction was crazy. Him on the Maximal's planet, that was cool. I like that. That entrance with like the fiery bits. I wish we saw more of that stuff in the movie. That was cool. But I think Scourge did great as a villain. Like, out of all of the characters in the movie that I wanted to buy the figure of, Scourge was like the first. So I'll probably get him soon because he was really cool. And I think he's one of the good ones in the Rise of the Beasts line. So I'll pick him up. I want Battletrap too, but I heard he's not the best. So I don't know. I might get him. Also, like, this is the only time I can really talk about the toys. I looked at all of the studio series for the movie after I finished it because, you know, obviously that's the point of the movie, just so you buy toys, and I fell for it. And RC looks terrible. Rhinox and Cheetor look fine, but I'm not a big Maximal guy. I might get them. Like I said, Battletrap, Scourge and Battletrap look really good, but apparently Battletrap sucks. But I think Scourge is good. I'm excited for the Studio Series Prime. Not a big fan of the kibble. I already want the B. The RC looks terrible. That's about it. So I talked about Scourge. I like Battletrap. He didn't do much in the movie. He was a good henchman type character, but I liked him. He was a cool looking character. I liked his design a lot. Nightbird she sounded like the red Decepticon from the Bumblebee movie, so that's neat. Her design is weird because I loved her vehicle mold. I said mold. I love all of their vehicle modes. Modes, dude. Talk better. Scourge's vehicle mode, the semi-truck thingy, we didn't see it very much. I think we saw it in like 1 or 2 scenes, but for what it's worth, I liked it. I loved Nightbird's vehicle mode, wish we saw more of it. Loved the pink accents and stuff. And Battletrap being a tow truck, that is just cool. Yeah, Nightbird's design was weird. Didn't like her head. That looked kind of funky because we didn't see too many close-up shots of her. Like the one shot where we see kind of close-up, she looks fine with the weird head, but when we see far away, she just looks goofy. I did like how she had the swords, like in G1. That was cool. And the jetpack, stuff like that. But she was just kind of a whatever character. Barely even in the movie. Yeah, Battletrap and Nightbird say like nothing in the movie, but that's whatever. I should have mentioned this before, but I saw Transit's name at the credits. I don't know how late into production he was cut, but he had voice lines because he had a voice actor credit, which was cool. This is gonna sound dumb, but I wish there was less show and not tell, because there were certain things that they like just got no explanations, which can work. You know, they don't always need to explain everything straight to her face, but certain things could have an explanation. For one, this scene didn't need to happen or anything, but when the Terracons arrived on Earth, I don't know if they're already in their Earth modes or they get them off screen, but that was never explained. Stratosphere just came in and left, which Stratosphere was a really fun character. I think he was really cool, and I would love like a massive $200 transformer, kind of like the Ark, and you can like fit the studio series into him. That'd be cool. I know we're never gonna get that, but it'd be cool. He's like Jetfire or Skyfire. I think it's Jetfire in the movie, but he comes out of nowhere. I'm just like, okay, so how are we getting to Peru, guys? And then Stratosphere just comes in and he's like, oh no, as if he already knew who Stratosphere was. So where does Stratosphere come from? Did he come in during the scene in the Bumblebee movie and he's just been on Earth like chilling? Is that what's going on? I don't know. I feel like there could have been some explanation to where he was. And then, oh man, don't even get me started on Pablo. They gave him this accent. I don't even know what accent it was. Apparently it's Mexican because there was this whole racism joke, which it wasn't like forced or anything. I thought it was funny. So why does he need an accent? Is it like a hot rod thing? No. A head's accent, but I can't get rid of it. Is it like that? Because we saw Wheeljack in the Bumblebee movie. And I guess while he was in Peru, he adopted an accent and got younger looking-ish. I don't know. He didn't do much in the movie, straight up. He barely did like anything. But Wheeljack is gonna Wheeljack. He's my favorite character. I love him. Did not like that Wheeljack at all. Now, to talk about the Autobots, I already talked about Mirage. Loved him. I didn't care about the whole, he's not a Formula 1 car, and he's more like Jazz. Jazz was a Porsche. Like, we already had Jazz in the movies. I'm okay with him being fun. It didn't really matter to me. They kind of changed all the characters up, So I know it's kind of like a double standard to care about them changing Wheeljack but not care about them changing Mirage. But I really liked Mirage's design. I didn't like Wheeljack's design, so I don't know. So let's talk about RC. RC was really good supporting character. I liked her design a lot. It was very, very faithful. It adapted what was cool before and made it better. I'm trying to clap them metal cheeks. And her lips looked really weird. All of their faces looked weird. So that's another thing to talk about. But hers specifically, her lips looked like a rubber. Like they were just attached to the metal frame of her face. They looked weird every time she talked. But I didn't care. That's such a nitpick. I cannot say the stuff that's on my mind about her right now, though. Straight up. I ain't mature enough for this. So I talked about B, talked about Pablo, Stratosphere, I've talked about all of them. I didn't talk about Prime. Big boy Papa Prime. He was weird. His voice acting was the worst part about his character. I think, a hot take, it's time to give Peter Cullen a rest. I genuinely don't know if Peter Cullen has voiced any other character in anything ever. I think he was Prime, and then that just kind of paid his bills for the rest of his life. But like, dude, it sounded like he was gargling throughout the movie. He rolled his R's in sentences that didn't have R's. He literally sounded like the AI Optimus Prime voice that I see in memes. He sounds like AI Prime. He sounds like someone doing an imitation of Prime. I think Peter Cullen just needs to give it a rest. He didn't sound like he was talking. He sounded like he was, I don't know. He sounded like he was doing an imitation of Prime. It reminds me a lot of, spoilers for Better Call Saul, but it reminds me of in Better Call Saul when Walt and Jesse showed up, because Aaron Paul and Bryan Cranston are so old and they haven't been Walt or Jesse in so long. It felt like they were doing imitations of their characters for their scenes in Better Call Saul. And that's what it felt like listening to Peter Cullen try to be Optimus Prime after 50 years. He sounded so weird. I loved him in the movie. He was good fun. But yeah, I think it's time we give Peter Cullen a rest. Like when I saw that they were getting Chris Hemsworth to play Optimus in, what is it, Transformers 1 or whatever, I was like, oh yeah, people are gonna be mad about that. In my opinion, War for Cybertron Optimus Prime sounds more like Optimus Prime than Optimus Prime. I kind of been not really addressing the human characters yet, so I'm gonna do that now. I loved Noah and his dynamic. This is my favorite humans, probably. I did like Charlie because Haley Steinfeld's a baddie, but I definitely like Noah, and I hope they keep him around. I loved his little brother Chris and their whole dynamic of being Sonic and Tails. Like, come on, that's adorable. And then when Chris called Mirage Knuckles, I had this massive smile on my face because that's even more adorable. Come on. When I realized the whole Sonic Tails dynamic, I was like, oh, they should call Mirage Knuckles. That'd be awesome. And then when we hear Chris on the little walkie-talkie, he's like, Knuckles. And I was like, oh. That was another thing where it felt like there should be more there. Because I feel like him calling him Knuckles came out of nowhere. So it's probably another scene that was cut from the movie, Chris and Mirage talking on the walkie-talkie. And there could have been a scene where they like set up him calling him Knuckles, but that's whatever. And I like Chris. He was a good little brother character, I guess. I normally hate kids in movies, but like, they got a pretty good child actor for him. And it was their whole thing was believable. And there was a bunch of like 90s references because it takes place in the 90s. And I liked how Mirage was kind of chilling with the Earth lingo, probably like watching movies and stuff. I mean, a lot of references probably flew over my head because I'm young, but you know, I loved the soundtrack. Well, whenever they were playing songs that already existed, but like anytime they had the songs from the 90s or whatever, they were good. I liked them, especially during B coming to the final battle. That was heat. The music playing with him shooting all of the pods, that was fire. Actually, I was really hoping they were gonna play some Daft Punk at some point in the movie. You can't tell me Around the World wouldn't have gone crazy at some point. So yeah, I like the music, even though I don't I don't listen to like any of those songs. I do know of most of them, so that was pretty cool. And I never talked about the other human character, Elena. How do I feel about Elena? Did not like her. And I think that's most of how I feel about the movie. This recording is actually so long. I think it's like 40 minutes worth of footage right here. So it's going to take me forever to edit. But I'm going to go through 2 games of Spider-Man PS4 for this background footage. But if you're tired of the Spider-Man PS4 background footage, don't worry. Because pretty soon, it'll be Fortnite footage. Because I don't have any Transformers games. Oh, there's more to talk about. I forgot. Why am I acting like I'm wrapping up the video? Their faces, they looked funky as always. Especially the Maximals. Holy crap. Every time Airazor spoke, I was like, what is going on here? Because her beak does this weird coming out and coming in thing. And it looks gross. There's like plates that are sticking out of it. And then Optimus Primal, he was fine. I didn't mind him that much. It didn't work. The other characters' faces were fine. Pablo looked kind of funky. He has all these like stringy bits. It looked weird. And he has these weird lips. Ugh. Oh, why'd they ruin Wheeljack? Prime, the big old nose. That was I didn't like that. Didn't look good. Looked way worse than Bay vs. Prime. Apparently it's supposed to look like Peter Cullen, which is like, yeah, that's cool or whatever. But when he had the mask on, peak Prime right there. That was good. I didn't talk about the Maximals. There was Airazor, Primal, Rhinox, Cheetor, and then Papa Primal on the Maximals' home planet that died. So I don't know how they're like... I don't know. I'm gonna assume that where they lived was a future version of Earth, because it kind of looked like Earth, it just had rings. So I'm gonna assume it's a future version, and they go back in time, and so does Unicron. I'm gonna assume that's what happened, because they turn into Earth animals, which doesn't make sense if they're from another planet. So I'm assuming they're just from Earth in the future. I don't know. I hate time travel so much, especially when they don't address it. They just ignored the time travel-ness, because naturally it would seem like the Maximals are from the past. But then there's that line where Primal was like, I was named after you, and it doesn't make any sense. Again, too much show and not tell. That's a good thing in filmmaking and stuff, but only when you plan to have what isn't being told explained through what is seen. Like Better Call Saul does that tremendously well. Rise of the Beast does not. Again, it's one of those things. I feel like there had to have been a scene where Primal explains the whole time travel thing. But there wasn't a scene like that. So now I'm just left wondering, like, what the heck's going on? Anyway, didn't make sense that they turned into animals. But that is my initial thoughts on Transformers Rise of the Beasts. I might make another video after I rewatch the movie, kind of compile my thoughts. Thank you guys so much for watching. Keep on transforming my username sandwiches, and I'll see y'all later. Peace out. Post-production Goose here. So that video was recorded on Monday 12th, June 12th, after the movie came out. And it was recorded outside. I was walking around, so I was like, and it was allergy season, so essentially at least 3 times a sentence I had to take like a couple breaths, which, you know, sounds dumb, but that meant I had to edit all of those breaths out, which is why the audio sounded pretty choppy at parts, and also why the audio was pretty inconsistent, because like I said, I was outside. And also that was an hour-long recording that I managed to condense into 23 minutes or 24-ish, I'm not sure. But the full hour-long recording will be linked in the description if you're interested in watching or listening, because I wasn't just watching that. It's an hour long, jeez. I'm not even gonna listen to that. I already listened to this enough. I don't want to listen to myself talk anymore. Anyway, peace out.